For centuries, we have been told that the Gospels, alongside the entire New Testament, was written initially in Greek. However, what seems to be kept back for the end times generation, many Hebrew manuscripts and supporting evidence has surfaced showing that this might not have been the case. Join us as we take a line-by-line approach, revisiting the Gospels of our Messiah from a Torah-obedient perspective, reading through and comparing what might have been the original, the Hebrew Gospel of Matthew. Shabbat Shalom and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream. My name is Adam and I welcome you. This is part 5 of our Hebrew Gospel of Matthew reading. And today we're going to be in chapter 5, and the beginning of it is known as the Beatitudes, which really just starts off the Sermon on the Mount in just the most blessed way, right? We'll talk about it in just a moment. But before we get started, I want to just offer a little bit of prayer up to the Most High, that He may open our eyes and ears to His Word and bless this study and this gathering, if you're here live or even if you're watching this as a video. And we'll just get it started off the right way. Heavenly Father, Yahweh, we come before You in Yahusha's name, Your Son, and we thank You for allowing us to be reconciled and brought back to You through the offering of Your Son, that He laid down His life for us. We thank You for opening our eyes to Your truth in these last days, and that we might come back to Your true service and how You've ordained it to be through Your commandments, through Your Torah. We love You, we bless You, and we thank You especially for this Shabbat, and we ask You to bless this study and open our eyes and ears to Your word, that we may hearken. Amen. So the Beatitudes comes from from the Latin word, which means blessedness. So that's just kind of what the first 12 verses of Matthew 5 has been dubbed as. These Beatitudes, sometimes they can seem opposite at times, right? It's like blessed are the poor. But what's interesting is, I think this is the heart of where we need to be, of where our spiritual walk should be, of how our mind should operate, how our soul should operate. If you were to ask 20 different people in the street what would make them happy, you'd probably get 20 different answers, maybe 15 different answers. Maybe you might get some duplicates, like more money or a better job or graduate college or a nicer house or paid off house or, paid off debt or a lot of contingencies, a lot of happiness based off of if this would happen, then I'd be happy. I think the Most High has called a lot of us out of the world, and in coming out of the world, we've realized that these material things do not offer happiness. Well, sometimes they do in very small spurts. We'll call them Band-Aids, right? You get a promotion at your job. Life is good for a couple weeks, right? Maybe a couple months, and then it just goes on like normal, and you have your normal daily woes and stresses and things like that. Or, a bunch of money comes in, and everything seems great for a while, and then life goes on like normal. And what I'm getting at is the Beatitudes, the creator of all things, the creator of heaven and earth. Because remember, the word says that all things were created through Messiah Yahusha. So, and that He is the greatest teacher of all. So if He comes down and He tells us how we can be blessed, how we can be really at the end of the day happy, I think we ought to listen. And this really gets to the heart of kind of the meaning of life. We'll get more into that as we get through this, but I kind of just wanted to set the stage as to, in case somebody's new out there and don't even know what the Beatitudes means, or what they represent. But what we'll find here through the Beatitudes is ideal heart conditions for our walk, and that's something that I've really felt led to shift the focus of this ministry, is to really help in any way that I can this Torah community realize. I say Torah community, I'm talking about people that are believers in Messiah, believers in the Most High through his Son, the Messiah, and are realizing that our walk is to consist of obedience, and our faith and obedience. And when I say obedience, that means the keeping of the Torah at the capacity that we can. We know some things that we just cannot do, but that's for another time. And my point is there seems to be a lack of the heart of the matters sometimes. And sometimes I can see things getting dangerously close to the Pharisees of old, doing the check marks. I'm doing Shabbat, I'm doing the feast days, but the heart's not there. And so really this study here will really get at the heart of the matters. But I don't want to preface it too much, because I really want to try to cover all 12 of the Beatitudes in one part, but certainly not going to rush it. So if we need to do it in 2 parts, we will. But again, this is a great kickoff to the Sermon on the Mount, which is pretty much Matthew 5 through chapter 7, which anyone that's studied this book really is probably some of the meatiest part of this entire book. So I'm excited to go back through this through the lens of a Torah observant believer, and excited to do it with you. So let's get started, and do a quick screen share. Oops. Here we go. And we're going to start here with Exodus 31:16 through 17, because again, this study is being conducted on the Shabbat. So, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. That means forever. It is a sign, the Hebrew word is ot, which can also mean a mark. It is a sign or a mark between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and the earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. The same thing he offers for us, for those that keep his Shabbat. So here we are. All right, no further delays. Let's go. Here we are at the Hebrew Gospels at www.hebrewgospels.com. And the book of John actually just came out today. So that's an interesting read for those of you that may want to read it through. But all you got to do is go to Gospels, Matthew, here we are, click on translation, and here we are. So, Matthew chapter 5, the Beatitudes. Yahushua HaMashiach regarded the people who were coming up to the mountain. And when he had set himself down, his Talmudim, his disciples, drew near unto him. So, here we have a difference in the Hebrew gospel than we do in the Greek, where it says, it would say Yahusha seeing the multitudes of the people. But here we have the Hebrew word is, let's see, here, the nabat is the Hebrew word here. And here's the Hebrew. It says to look, regard, to regard, show regard, you pay attention, consider, to look upon, regard. Here, a little more information. To look intently at, by implication, to regard with pleasure, favor, or care, to behold, consider, look, regard, have respect. So you certainly see that a lot of the meaning was lost going from the Hebrew to the Greek, where the Greek, it's just like he saw the multitudes, right? And here in the Hebrew, he regarded them. He had consideration of them. He paid attention to them with pleasure, right? And I want to show a couple other uses of this word, nabat. Psalm 74:20, have respect, have nabat unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. Lamentations 4:16, the anger of Yahweh divided them. He will no more nabat them, right? He'll no more have this compassion, this tender love towards them. They respected not the persons of the priest. They favored not the elders. Isaiah 5:12, and the harp and the viol and the tabret and the pipe, the wine are in their feasts, but they nabat not. They regard not the work of Yahweh, neither consider the operation of his hand. So here we see it in an opposite context, but the way Messiah Yahushua uses it is in a positive context. He nabats them. He regards them. He looks upon, we can call it look upon gently, right? Completely different than what the Greek is saying. And here the Hebrew word, or the Greek word here is right. It's really just to see or to look. So a lot richer meaning here in the Hebrew. And also, we have to realize that he does love us. Yeah, that's why he was looking upon the multitudes with that more special, tender regarding, because he does love his creation. Jeremiah 31, 3-4, Yahweh hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. Again I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin of Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with thy tabrets, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry. Deuteronomy 4:37-38, and because he loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought thee out of his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt, to drive out the nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance, as it is this day. Deuteronomy 7:6-11, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim hath chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And that goes against the footsteps of the world, brothers and sisters. Everything is, equality, which I get, equal rights for people. That's a given, and I'm not arguing that. But he does set his people above the rest of the nations. His regard, his nabat, right, is above. It's above the rest of the people. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were fewest of all the people. Is that not even more so true in our time right now? But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, that hath brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen. Let's go down here. Know therefore that Yahweh the Elohim, he is Elohim, the faithful Elohim, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. So we won't get too deep into this tonight, but that's how we love him back, right? It's not just lip service. Certainly he loves the praise. He loves the singing to him. He loves the prayer to him. He loves the offering up to him, but we show it, right? We show it with our heart by our actions and keeping his commandments. And repayeth them that hate them to his face, that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him, and repay him to his face. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command you this day. John 10:11-17. Again, this is Yahusha's love for us. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, sees danger, right? And leaves the sheep. I'm out of here. And fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling, right? The hired servant flees because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. It reminds me, really, looking at what's going on in this world and the old jabberoo that everybody's talking about. You're seeing these worldly pastors that are encouraging their sheep to get the jabby jab. That's hireling stuff, brothers and sisters. That's not shepherd stuff. That's hireling stuff. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice. Right? This is Exodus 19:5-6 stuff. This is hearken to my voice, and you will be a holy nation, peculiar people, holy priesthood unto me, right? And there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I laid down my life that I might take it again. couple more. John 15:9-13. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue in my love. If you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I've kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love. These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. So here we're getting a sneak peek into tonight's study with how do we have joy? Well, he's going to tell us to have joy, or he's going to tell us how we have joy, and it's not through our careers or even anything that this world can offer, money, pleasures. It's all temporary stuff. But if you want lasting joy, listen in tonight. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. And this is what we need to really understand so well. There's a lot of people coming back to his commandments. I mean, thousands, sometimes hundreds by the day, it seems. But we really can't lose focus of our love for each other. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 13:34-35. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another. So just keep that in mind. But remember, sometimes, right, loving one another sometimes is rebuking, but rebuking can be done in the right manner, in the right ruach, in the right spirit, right? Not in an evil and demeaning and breaking down spirit, but in a spirit of love, like, hey, I want to share a couple things with you. Proverbs 27:5-6. Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Proverbs 28:23. He that rebuketh a man afterwards shall find more favor than he that flattereth with the tongue. So sometimes love does mean saying the hard things that people don't want to say. But again, how you deliver it is key. Sometimes Leviticus 19:17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. And 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. And we'll stop there. I don't want to get too far off subject for tonight, but just wanted to show you that he does care for us, and it is abundantly clear that he does so. And here we might want to hearken to the excellent advice he has. Again, think about it. He created this world. He created us. He created our heart, our soul, everything. If we want to be blessed and have blessedness and have joy, we got to listen. And so the last thing, when he had sat himself down, remember, and he's on this is on top of a mountain, right? This is on top of like a hillside, like a mountainside. So it goes right alongside with very many famous instances. Of course, Moshe on top of Mount Sinai with the giving of the Torah, and then stepping down and teaching the children of Israel. I'm sure there's so many I could think of right now. Of course, Elijah, Mount Carmel. But here, of course, here's the greatest teacher of all on top of the mountainside. Let's listen in to what he's got in store for us. But of course, what I also love about this is he sits down, right? He's not standing up on a pulpit, but he's just sitting down like one of the crew, right? Like one of the guys, like one of the... Anyways, it's just it's a very humble place to be. So verse 3, and here we go. And we'll get started now. Blessed are the humble ones of spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of Yahuwah. So humble is a key. And what we're going to see tonight is it's pretty wise that we're going to see there's kind of an order to this. It starts out with humbleness, humility, and then it progresses all the way to, then persecution and joy. So we'll start with humbleness. This is where we all have to start, from a place of humility and humbleness, knowing that we've all got it wrong, that we all deserve death, and we should stay humble at all times. Let's read some scriptures regarding that. Isaiah 57:15, for thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. If we want a Let's see, here's a dictionary of contrite. Feeling or showing sorrow. Okay. Feeling or showing sorrow and remorse for a sin or shortcoming, right? That's the definition of contrite. So we should all, we all have different degrees of how bad we were, but we all deserve death, quite frankly. And we should all be contrite and humble in spirit, and he will revive us. Proverbs 16:19, better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. So it's better to be a nobody and humble than somebody with lots of stuff and proud and boastful. He hates pride. He hates it. That's what happened with Hasatan, with Satan, right? He was lifted up in pride. Proverbs 29:23, a man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Isaiah 66:1-2, thus saith Yahuwah, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you will build unto me, and where is the place of my rest? Well, we know now it's within the tabernacle of men. We have been cleansed through the blood of Messiah Yahusha, who sprinkled us, and we've been hopefully baptized, and the Ruach of the Most High has come upon us, right? For all these things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith Yahuwah. But to this man will I look. This man I will look to. I will have regard, as we saw just a moment ago. Even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word, right? We've read the word of the Most High, and we were like, whoa. All right, I got to get my life straight. I got to get my life right with the Most High, right? I've been doing this wrong, like the Josiah generation. I think we might talk a little bit about Josiah. Actually, I think in this, we're going to talk about Josiah just for a second. So I'll leave that for a moment. Leviticus 26:40-42, if they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me. So confessing, right? So we're seeing this contrite and humble spirit starts off with repentance, right, confessing our sin and being humble about it. And that I also have walked contrary to them and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Yitzchak, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. So he's like, I'm waiting on you, right? You're the one that broke the covenant. I haven't. I'm waiting on you, right? Repent, humble. Job 22:9, thou hast sent widows away empty in the arms of the that's probably the wrong passage I must have wrote down. Sorry about that. It was probably a good one, though. I know it's something to do with being humble. It's probably... Okay, sorry about that. 2 Kings 22:8-1. I'll actually just preface this real quick. Josiah sent priest and scribe to go get some money from the treasury. While they were looking for the money, they found the book of the law. Could be the whole Torah, could be just the book of Deuteronomy. We don't know exactly. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest hath delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king, and it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the book of the Torah that he rent his clothes. He was like, we do it now in a spiritual sense. We rend our hearts. And here's a little bit later on in 2 Kings 22. But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuwah, thus shall you say to him, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before Yahuwah, when thou heardest what I spake against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and hast rent thy clothes, and wept before me. I also have heard thee, saith Yahuwah. That is what he is looking for us, brothers and sisters. We should all be a generation of Josiahs, ones that have realized what the truth has been hidden from all of us. It's been masked by false religion, by mainstream churchianity that has completely changed the commandments, or whatever. You might have grown up in atheism or scientism or Judaism or something ism, and the truth of the Most High was hidden from you. but he's waking. He's either woken you up and you're already wide awake, or you're beginning to wake up. This is what he's looking for us. He's looking us to lower ourselves before him. Second Chronicles, right? Every knee shall bow before him. Second Chronicles 7:14. This is a very famous passage. Driving through the Midwest here, you'll probably find this eventually in someone's farm. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. If they only knew exactly what that meant. Second Chronicles 33, 1 through 13. You know what? An amazing story here. But we're going to, for time's sake, I would, if you haven't read Second Chronicles 33, Manasseh, quite frankly, is probably one of the worst kings ever. He went into people's wives. He brought in idols into the temple. He served other gods. He dealt with familiar spirits, magicians, astrologers, everything. In the book of the Ascension of Isaiah, he's the one that commanded Isaiah to be cut in half, like literally right down the middle. I know, pretty gruesome. Pretty bad guy. But, right? So in the midst of his sin, wherefore Yahweh brought upon them the captains of the host of the kings of Assyria, which took Manasseh among the thorns and bound him with fetters. Ouch. These thorns and fetters, that's an ouchie right there. And carried him to Babylon. There's my dad talk, sorry. And when he was in affliction, he besought Yahweh his Elohim and humbled himself greatly before the Elohim of his fathers, and prayed unto him, and he was entreated of him, and heard his supplication, and brought him again to Jerusalem into his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that Yahweh was Elohim. That's an amazing story. And he goes on to fix stuff in Jerusalem. Anyways, he humbled himself. Psalm 35, 11 through 15. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things I knew not. They rewarded me evil for good, and to the spoiling of my soul. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into my own bosom. I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in mine adversity they rejoiced and gathered themselves together. Yea, the abjects gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear me and sees not, right? This is being humble. While other people are tearing him apart, he's just humbling himself even more. Numbers 12:3. Now the man Moshe was very meek. The same word can be translated as humble, above all the men which are upon the face of the earth, right? That's why Yahweh chose him. He chose him to serve his people. He was meek. He was humble. This is how we need to be. James 4:6, but he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, Elohim resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. James 4:10, humble yourselves in the sight of Yahweh, and he shall lift you up. 1 Peter 5, 5 through 6, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Elohim resisteth the proud, and giveth grace unto the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that he may exalt you in due time. So hopefully we get the picture by now. It's humility. It's the opposite of pride. Pride is like, boastful, like, I got the right answers. I know the right Shabbat. It's this and that, and you don't. And, I've got, I see it all too much in the Torah community. I really do. Of course, it's all over the world. I mean, the world teaches people to be boastful and prideful, and I mean, it's all over. It's all over, like clothing. You walk through like a clothing store, and it's like, I looking for clothes for my boys, and you look at like all the sportswear, and it's like, I'm the best at sports, and you're the worst. Try to get me. I'm the fastest, and I don't know. It's just pop culture to be boastful and prideful. And truly, again, the further the world goes in this direction, the further we need to go the opposite direction. The more that we're going to stick out like sore thumbs. But people don't like it. But like when Yehusha teaches, when someone smites you on one side of the cheek, turn to the other. That's being humble, right? It's being meek. Enoch 5, verse 8. And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. but they who are wise shall be humble, brought low. Even if you're lifted up, right? Even if you're in a really good place, really good job, lots of money, whatever, be humble about it. Be low, right? There's a verse, there's a scripture that says, if riches increase, don't set your heart upon them. And I'm not talking about just money. This isn't just about money. But really, in all that we do, the way we carry ourselves, we can be humble. Sorry, it sounds like the children are having a hard time. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of their days, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. And a couple more verses, because humility is very important. Here's another Enoch. Among these there was a tree. He's getting a tour of all the world. Among these there was a tree of unceasing smell, nor of those which were in Eden was there of one of all the fragrant trees which smelt like this. Its leaf, its flower, and its bark never withered, and its fruit was beautiful. I'll give you a spoiler alert. This is the tree of life. Its fruit resembled a cluster of the palm. I exclaimed, behold, this tree is goodly in aspect, pleasing in its leaf, and the sight of its fruit is delightful to the eye. Then Michael, one of the holy and glorious angels who were with me, and who presided over them, answered and said, Hanok, why do you inquire respecting the odor of this tree? He's like, why are you curious? Are you inquisitive to know it? Then I, Enoch, replied to him and said, concerning everything I am desirous of instruction, right? I want to know about everything, but particularly concerning this tree. He answered me, saying, that mountain which you behold, the extent of whose head resembles the seat of Yahweh, will be the seat on which shall sit the holy and great Yahweh of glory, the everlasting King, when he shall come and descend to visit the earth with goodness. And that tree of an agreeable smell, not one of a carnal odor, but there shall be no power to touch until the period of the great judgment, when all shall be punished and consumed forever. This shall be bestowed on the righteous and humble. So this tree of life is for the righteous and humble. The fruit of the tree shall be given to the elect, for towards the north life shall be planted. So toward the north life shall be planted in the holy place, toward the habitation of the everlasting King. That's Enoch 24:3-9 in the Sefer version. They that fear Yahweh will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, this is in the 1611 KJV under the Apocrypha section. That was Ecclesiasticus 2:17. This is a good one. The greater you are, the more you humble yourself, and you shall find favor before Yahweh. And oh, how this came true with Messiah Yahushua. He was the greatest of all to walk on the earth, and he humbled himself the most of any man, even more than Moshe. Ecclesiasticus 3:18. The prayer of the humble pierces the clouds until it comes. Let me read that again. The prayer of the humble pierces the clouds until it come nigh. Till it come night, he will not be comforted and will not depart till El Elyon shall behold to judge righteously and execute judgment. Ecclesiasticus 35:17. So hopefully you got a good idea of humility, humbleness, contrite spirit, being lowly in the sight of the Most High, right? And we know that includes repentance, getting on those knees and repenting for what we have done. So, blessed are the humble ones of spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of Yahweh. Verse 4, blessed are the weeping ones, for unto them comfort will reach. So I think in the Greek it says, or in the versions we're used to, blessed are they that mourn, which blessed are the weeping ones, they that mourn, same thing, right? So blessed are the weeping ones, for unto them comfort will reach. So let's talk a little bit about the weeping ones. Isaiah 61:1-3. This is the very passage that Messiah Yahushua started his ministry with, as we read in Luke 4. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all that mourn. to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, right? Reward for being lifted up, for being low. The oil of joy for mourning, so those that mourn will be made glad. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, right? To be heavy in the ruach is kind of to be humble and contrite in the ruach, which is what we just read a moment ago. We just discussed a moment ago about being humble, being low. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. Right? So these trees, these are the ones, this is the seeds that were planted on good and fertile ground that came forth and brought forth fruit, some 20-fold, 100-fold, and became large trees. Psalm 126, when Yahweh turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then they said among the heathen, Yahweh hath done great things for them. So we're seeing the reward first. Lord, Yahweh hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, O Yahweh, as the streams in the south. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth and weeping, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. So here we see, again, for those that, a reward for those that are heavy for a lot of things. And we're going to talk about that when we read Ezekiel 9 here in just a moment. Psalm 30, I will extol thee, O Yahweh, for thou hast lifted me up and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Yahweh, my Elohim, I cried unto you, and thou hast healed me. O Yahweh, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. So the keys of David, man, I got to tell you, we really need to study David a little more of his life, because he was a man after Yahweh's own heart. And, when he sinned bad. Let's be honest with each other. I'm not here to gloat in David's sin. The scripture says that he was blameless except for that one event with Bathsheba and the killing of her husband. But let me tell you something. When his sin was shown to him, he humbled himself greatly. He cried, he wept before Yahweh. Yahweh heard him, right? He forgave him. Things were a little tough afterwards, right? It wasn't all easy road, right? He kind of had to pay for it, and that goes for us too. We see a passage in Jeremiah 30 or 31. He says, I'll forgive you, but you won't go altogether unpunished, right? Sing unto Yahweh, O ye saints of his, and give thanks for the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment, but in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And so we can imagine that, in this life, we're in the night. In some of the extra biblical books that we've read, Ascension of Isaiah again, there's a couple others, is it third Baruch, I think? Anyways, it talks about there's the 7 firmaments of heaven, and each layer you go to gets brighter and brighter, and when you reflect, earth is really dark compared to the different levels of heaven. So weeping may endure for a night. So we are like in the nighttime right now, but joy cometh in the morning. And so those that weep will find joy at the coming of Messiah Yahusha. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Yahweh, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried unto thee, O Yahweh, and unto Yahweh I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise you? Shall it declare your truth, your Torah? Hear, O Yahweh, and have mercy upon me. Yahweh, be my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee, and not be silent, O Yahweh. I'll give thanks unto thee forever. Now here's Ezekiel 9. This is a very interesting passage, especially when we talk about the mark of the beast or the mark of Yahweh. And the glory of the Elohim of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst thereof. Right? Blessed are the weeping ones. Right? Set a mark upon the foreheads of all those that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, right? Kill, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So I think we could talk about this for probably a couple other hours about all the different things that we could cry or sigh that's going on in the midst of who are supposed to be his people, especially in this country, all over the world. You know, I mean, really, do I have to say everything here? Let's not taint this stream, but there's a lot to sigh and weep for and ask for judgment for. So let's keep that in mind. Thinking about blessed are those who mourn, or the weeping ones. Genesis 43:30, and Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep, and he entered into his chamber and wept there. This is when he saw Benjamin for the first time in many years, and he's tender-hearted, right? There's nothing wrong with a crying man. The world will say, sissy stuff, but hey, David, a man after Yahweh's own heart, cried. Yahusha cried. Moshe, did he cry? Jeremiah wept, the weeping prophet, right? Enoch, he wept. Job 30:25, did not I weep for him that was in trouble? Was not my soul grieved for the poor? 1 Samuel 1, 1 through 11. We'll just go and read it. This is a good read. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. We find out in Chronicles that this is the line of Levi. So this is Levi. This is Samuel's dad. So Samuel was a Levite, and he had two wives, and the name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out of the city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto Yahweh Sebaot in Shiloh. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of Yahweh, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but Yahweh had shut up her womb. And her adversary also provoked her sore, to make her fret, because Yahweh had shut up her womb. As he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of Yahweh, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah her husband to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon the seat by a post of the temple of Yahweh, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto Yahweh, and wept sore. And she vowed a vow, and said, O Yahweh Sabaoth, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a child, then I will give him unto Yahweh all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So this reminds me of what we were talking about a few weeks ago about the Nazarite, so we can see that Samuel was a Nazarite from birth. But point being is that she was in sorrow, she cried out unto Yahweh, and was heard, right? And so she was eventually given children, so praise Yah. Jeremiah 9:1, oh, that my head were waters, and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Jeremiah cared about the people, right? So did Yahusha. Yahusha cared about the people. He wept. Jeremiah 13:16-17, give glory unto Yahweh your Elohim before he cause darkness, and before your feet stumble upon the dark mountains, and while ye look for light, he turn it into the shadow of death, and make it gross darkness. But if you will not hear it, my soul shall weep in secret places for your pride, and my eyes shall weep sore and run down with tears, because Yahweh's flock is carried away captive. Now, Modern day application for us, remember earlier Josiah, he rent his garments. Joel 2:13-17, and rend your heart and not your garment. This is mourning. Blessed are those, the weeping ones. This is mourning. Rend your heart. This is a way to mourn. Rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto Yahweh your Elohim, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. I mean, man, let me tell you something. The Most High is been gracious and merciful and slower in anger and of great kindness to me in my life. He waited 34 years for me. 33 years. I don't know. I know you guys will be out there. Oh, 33, Adam. Okay, 32 years. How about that? 32 and a half years. How about that? He waited 32 something odd years for me to turn from my ways and to turn back to him. That is patience. And all the while, I deserve death the entire time. Imagine our daddy looking down at us in the ways that we were. And not all of you lived egregious lives. I know that. I've heard from quite a few of you. A lot of you had lived at least decent lives. You might have been doing a lot of his commandments wrong, but didn't live detestable lives like some of us have. But I can tell you, I'm here as a witness that the Most High is gracious, merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, for he could have just left me by the wayside and not shown me his truth and let me die the first and second death. So, praise be to Yahweh. What's he done for you? Let the priests, the ministers of Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their Elohim? For time's sake, because I think we'll be able to get through the Beatitudes, a really good read in this thought process of being humbled and contrite and lowly and weeping for the people. Ezra is another one. I forgot about Ezra. Ezra the priest, very tender heart for the people. He wept. Second Esdras chapter 8, really good read. Really good read. As I was doing this study, I was thinking to myself, this is a really long passage. I will decide on the fly if I'm going to read this. So, Second Esdras 8, if you want to get a little deeper into this. Okay, so Matthew 5:5, Blessed are the resting ones, for they will inherit the earth. And this is also the difference here. In the Greek, it says poor in spirit, which it's very similar to kind of what we saw earlier, humble in spirit. So very, very, very similar in its understanding. So I'm glad we got a little difference here. Let's see, I can't remember what the notes had here. Resting ones are those who rest in obedience to Yahweh's ways. Right, okay, so let's look at some verses here to kind of expand on rest. And last week or the week before I think it was last week, we talked about how the grace of Yahweh, and how the grace of Yahweh was him giving us his Torah, his instructions for living. And so we'll see a very similar thought process here of the resting ones. We'll see who are the resting ones. Isaiah 28:9-13. Now, I will tell you, most of us have been taught way wrong about what this passage is really saying here. So bear with me if my understanding of this is a little different than what you've been taught. I'd just like to share how I understand this verse. I'm not saying that I'm right, but let me share with you why I am where I am with this verse. Here we have the Most High asking a question. Who shall I teach knowledge? Who? I'm looking around this earth. Who am I going to teach knowledge? And to whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Now he's answering, those that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, right? People that have gone from the basics and moving on. It's very similar to what we see in Hebrews 5, the end of Hebrews 5 to the beginning of Hebrews 6. There's a transition there. He's like how much longer are we going to talk about the basics and the principles of the doctrines of Messiah? Let's move on to perfection. Let's move on to not just the milk. Let's move on to strong meat. Let's move on to... So anyways, so he's answering, the Most High is answering, those that are weaned from the milk, they're not babies anymore, they're walking. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And truly, especially with prophecy, it's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit hidden here, a little bit hidden there, right? And that's how his doctrine is sometimes. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest, right? What is? His doctrine, his precepts, line upon line, his word, his truth. This is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest. And this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear again. What are we talking about here? Blessed are the resting ones, for they will inherit the earth. So who is resting, right? But the word of Yahweh was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. They did not hearken. They did not learn his doctrine. Isaiah 30:15, for thus saith Yahweh Eloheinu, the Holy One, the Kodesh, the set-apart one of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not. And the next passage, we're going to see exactly what he was offering in his rest, but they would not. Jeremiah 6:16, thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Still applies right now. Ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein. And guess what? And you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Matthew 11:27-30, you're talking still about that rest. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and to he whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly of heart, and you shall find rests unto your soul. For your rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We also know the Torah is light. Little wordplay there. Interesting passage though. The yoke is very plainly stated here in 2nd Baruch as the yoke of the Torah. Let me just 2nd Baruch 41. Sorry. 2 Baruch 41:3. For lo, I see many of your people whom have withdrawn from your covenant and cast from them the yoke of your Torah. So we're supposed to be yoked with his Torah, bound upon us, and Yahusha says that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And I think a lot of us are finding that out, that the commandments, the Torah, there was a hedge put around it by men saying, it's too hard, you can't do it. Messiah did it so that you don't have to. Stay away, caution tape, don't enter. Thanks to the Most High, he's been ripping up that caution tape for us, and we're taking a peek in here, and we're like, oh, Shabbat, rest, dedicated unto him, don't work, don't make others work. Oh, right? Do good things to other people, as people would do unto you, do unto them, as you would want them to do to you, do unto them, right? Just like the commandments are awesome. Deuteronomy 4, it says that other nations, when the Torah is done in the right way, the other nations look and be like, is there any nation as great as this nation, right? With judgments and statutes so righteous, and an Elohim that's so close to them, right? That's how it's supposed to be. And that's how people should view the way. So if you were going around boasting about your Sabbath record, or that you keep the feast and everyone else that doesn't do it is a pagan, maybe that's the wrong approach, and maybe you're being a stench in people's nose. Maybe it should be done in love and humility, right? We should probably have some humble approaching your friends, families, and neighbors classes, maybe. Not that I'm an expert, but we can talk about it, right? We can have a little forum and talk about it. Anyways, so yes, who are the resting ones? Those that have put on the yoke of the Torah, which is light and easy and wonderful and delightful. As the man after Yahweh's own heart said, what does he say? I'm gonna try to quote Psalm 19, 7 through 11. The Torah of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yah is simple. No, here we go. No, you know what? Stop it, Adam. You thought I knew it by heart. I don't. Psalm 19, 7 through 11. The Torah of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yah is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of Yah is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yahweh is clean, enduring forever. The judgments, the right rulings of Yahweh are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and of the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. So, that's how we look at the resting ones. The resting ones are resting in, walking in the way, the Torah of the Most High. Right? Psalm 119, blessed are the undefiled, blessed are the clean who walk in the Torah, or in the way, or blessed are the undefiled in the way who walk in the Torah of Yahweh. All right, verse 6, Matthew 5, 6, blessed are the ones hungry and thirsty for righteousness, for they will be satisfied and will become satisfied ones. And this is really, this seems to be right here in the middle of the Beatitudes, and guess what? It's right in the center of everything. Because we know the human condition, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have, you'll never have enough. Never. You never will. Whatever you're thirsting, if you're thirsting for anything other than Yahweh's ways, you'll never have enough. You'll never be fully satisfying. I mean, you can thirst for a lot of things. You can thirst for being an excellent musician, and it may bring you a lot of joy, but it won't fill you up, right? Now, maybe singing to Yahweh, that might make your cup overflow at some point. But, again, all worldly stuff that hopefully most of you that are watching this are coming out by now. Not to say that we're not supposed to have jobs or have incomes or things like that. But if that is like the center of your being, if that's what you wake up every day for, like, yes. Now, some of us do have some amazing jobs, but what is your heart thirsting after, right? Is it thirsting after being a man after Yahweh's own heart, just like David is? Is it wanting to learn more about his ways daily and seeking him, right? Picking up your cross, your stake, your staff, and following him daily, right? Denying yourself and following him. That should be at the inner core of what we are. And now that we believe in the true Messiah, right? The true Messiah, the lawful one that told us to walk like he did. And now that we know about these commands, this Torah should be the treasure. This should be the treasure chest that we should be looking at and studying from constantly, right? Deuteronomy 6 says when we wake up and we lay down, when we walk by the way, and we should eat, sleep, breathe, and his commandments. So blessed are those, the hungry ones and thirsty, for they shall be filled. So when you're thirsting on his ways, you will be filled. So again, the moral of the story is, if you thirst for money, you'll never have enough. If you thirst for cars, you'll never have enough. They'll never be nice enough, whatever. If you thirst after big, luxurious homes, it'll never be enough. If you thirst for, whatever. I can't even think of all the things in the world these days. The most friends, right? To be liked the most, to have, talk about this generation, right? To have the most likes or the most followers or this, it's all vain stuff. You'll never have enough. You could have 5 million followers tomorrow, and it won't mean squat. Nothing. Because then you'll be like, oh, someone else has 10 million, right? What do you think? Again, I've said it before. Why do you think these celebrities are killing themselves, right? They're at the top of what the world sells, and they realize they're up there and it's empty. There's nothing, right? Why these billionaires want to kill you? Because they have everything, and they want to kill you because they still hate themselves. All right, let's talk about the good stuff. So we want to be filled. So how will we be filled? Psalm 119, 142. So again, the whole context here is blessed are the ones hungry and thirsty for righteousness. And Psalm 119, 142 says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law, the Hebrew word is Torah. Thy Torah is the truth. Deuteronomy 6:25, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahweh our Elohim, as he has commanded us. And we know that none of us have kept them all perfectly, so praise be to Messiah Yahusha. Praise be to Yah for sending Messiah Yahusha, for offering up himself. He laid down his life willingly for us, and his blood sprinkled upon us. We've been cleansed by faith, by belief, and now that we've been cleansed and healed, we walk uprightly and we walk in the way. Genesis 5:15-6, and he believed, this is Abraham, he believed in Yahweh, and it was counted to him for righteousness. So he believed, and it was counted to righteousness. But we also know there's another part to this, Genesis 26:5, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge and my commandments and my statutes and my Torah. Belief and obedience. That's what we're striving for. Psalm 15, who shall abide in your tabernacle, right? The new Jerusalem is coming down. Who shall dwell in your holy hill? He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor, and whose eyes a vile person is contemned. But he honoreth them that fear Yahweh, and sweareth to his own hurt, and changeth not. He that putteth not out his money to usury, interest, nor taketh reward against the innocent, he that does these things shall never be moved. So this is the righteous person. The righteous person will be the one that will be able to go into the tabernacle. Psalm 23, 1-3, Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. Right? And that's the whole thing. This is the whole thing, is when you strive for righteousness, you don't want. You don't need anything. Number one, he provides it for you, right? So it's like if you, in your previous life, you're stressing about money all the time. I know firsthand. For many years, I had six-figure incomes, right? And I still stressed about money. Why? Because I was, always spending it, of course, and just always worried about where more was going to come, right? But the interesting thing is, then you start following Yah, and he could even be poor, right? And you're still satisfied as long as you have what you need. It is tough, of course, when you go without, but Messiah Yahushua himself said, seek ye first the kingdom, or seek ye first Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And the context of that was caring about what shall we eat and what shall we drink and wherewith shall we be clothed, right? And the interesting thing is once you set your eyes and mind off of those things, you get them anyways. You focus on him and his ways, he gives it to you anyways, right? Because he knows you need those things to sustain life, right? He gives them to you. But the point being is, when you set your mind on his ways and focus on that, really focus on that, and the way is paved for you, right? And sometimes you go through some tough times, I know. Sometimes you'll be tested, right? Tested to make sure. Sometimes you might be financially strapped, right? I remember times, this was only years ago. My wife and I, we were negative in our bank account, and rent was due, right? Well, we prayed. Guess what? He provided right on time. Anyways, so I get it. I know. So Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want, right? We keep his ways, we won't want a thing. We won't need a thing. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Psalm 106:3, blessed are they that keep judgment, and he that doeth righteousness at all times. So, again, the whole theme here is blessed are the ones hungry and thirsty for righteousness, right? We're not hungry or thirsty for the things of the world anymore, right? To have the prettiest wife or the best looking husband, or that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, these are all just that's a bad example. I'm just saying, like, striving to be partners with the best looking person, or we don't have to talk about all the different worldly things that we used to strive for, but once we just get away from that and strive for his ways, he gives us the desires of our hearts anyways. And that's why Yahushua can say, blessed are the ones that are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, because they will be filled. And a lot of us are starting to realize what that actually looks like. Psalm 119, 172, my tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. 1 Peter 2:21 through 24, for even hereunto are we called to, we're being called to suffer, because Mashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, we've been free, right, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes you were healed. And that's the gospel, right? We're healed, we're redeemed back to the Father, and given the Spirit that we can actually keep his commandments. 1 John 3:7, little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous, right? Don't let anybody tell you that the works of the Torah, the works of the commandments do not equal righteousness. It's not true. Not true. It is absolutely true that righteousness is keeping of the commandments of the Most High. 1 John 3:10, and this the children of Elohim are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of Elohim, neither he that loveth not his brother. And again, starting at the beginning, the righteousness is equated with his Torah, the everlasting truth. Hallelujah. So again, let me read that again. Blessed are the hungry ones and thirsty for righteousness, for they will be satisfied and will become satisfied ones. So set your heart on heavenly things and not on fleshly things, and you will be satisfied. All right, Matthew 5:7. Blessed are the compassionate ones, for they will obtain compassion. This is a big one. This is a big... Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Talking about being thirsty. Just really quickly. Deuteronomy 32:1 through 2. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. We are likened to plants, brothers and sisters, that grow. And what do the plants yearn for? The rain. Who's thirsty? Are you? Isaiah 32:1, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. I'm not sure why. Okay. I was just setting it up here for verses 15 through 17. Until the Spirit be poured on upon us from high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. And we know what is thirstier than the desert. The desert is thirsty, right? Blessed are the ones hungry and thirsty for righteousness. So if his doctrine drops down as the rain, well, tell you what, it's been a desert on this earth for a long time, and he's dropping down his rain. Who's thirsty? I am. Are you? Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness. Wilderness is also translated as desert, Bamidbar. And righteousness remain in the fruitful field, and the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quiet and assurance forever. And certainly, brothers and sisters, most of us were dwelling in a desert land, and he is watering the desert for us. Isaiah 41:17 through 19, when the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue faileth for thirst, I, Yahweh, then will hear them. I, the Elohim of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar and the shittah tree and the myrtle and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree and the pine and the box and the tree together, box tree together. These are all fruitful trees, useful trees. Right, again, remember, we're likened to first the seed planted in our heart, and then whether we're fertile ground or not, we either grow into fruit-bearing plants, eventually big trees, or not, or we wither away. Some people get tangled up by thorns, the cares of this world. Some people, stony ground, stony hearts, right? The devil comes and swoops it away, or there's no root in them, and they wither away. But let us be fruitful ground. Isaiah 44:1 through 4. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen, Yashurun. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed. This is the pouring the water is of the likening to the pouring of the spirit upon us. Now we see this in Joel 2, I think towards the end, where the spirit gets poured. Anyways, and my blessing upon thine offspring, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. And we see this very clearly in Psalm 1:1-3, which is blessed are they. Anyway, it says, man, why am I forgetting all the verses I typically know? Yeah, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So, if you've ever seen a tree next to waters, they ain't thirsty. They're satisfied, right? And so that's very much how we would be likened to for those of us that are hungry and thirsty after his righteousness. Man, that's a good verse. Yeah, I'll just read it. No need to be in a rush. If we can't finish the whole thing today, we won't finish it. Isaiah 55, Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no money, come ye buy and eat. Yea, come and buy wine and milk without money, without price. Why do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfieth not? Right? So talking about the hungry and thirsty. What are you hungry and thirsty for? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight in itself and fatness. Incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. Right here. Hear, O Israel. Shema. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee because of Yahweh thy Elohim. Excuse me. Sorry. And for the Holy One of Israel, for he hath glorified thee. Seek Yahweh while he may be found, and call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahweh. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Here we go. All that to set this up. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So he's giving you a parable here. So just like we know how, let's just call it wheat, right? Plant the wheat seed, yeah. And the rain comes down, it waters the seed, it gets wet, it gets moist in the darkness, it springs forth, it goes into a plant. The man harvests it, and for bread it's useful. This is good. Yahweh calls this good. So like that cycle is, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. For ye shall go out with joy, and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn, which is a unprofitable plant, does nothing for anybody. So instead of the unprofitable plant shall come up the fir tree, which is profitable. Instead of the briar, again, unprofitable, shall come up the myrtle tree, and it shall be unto Yahweh for a name and for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. And that is exactly, brothers and sisters, what's happening in these last days. Fruitful plants are springing back up again, and that's what's happened. Imagine this whole earth as like a desert spiritually. Imagine this whole earth as like a spiritual desert, because the truth has been hidden for so long, and it was ordained to be that way. And he's opened up the heavens, and he's raining down his doctrine, and some of the seeds are springing forth and being fruitful and becoming these profitable trees like the myrtle and the fir tree and others. people are springing up and bringing forth righteousness the way he's demanded it. That's never changed. It says, the scripture says he never changes, right? So that's what's happening. And those that are thirsty for it are drinking it up. Those that are not are forsaking the doctrine that's coming down from heaven at this time. Hosea 10:12, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground. So here we get more gardener talk. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek Yahweh till he come and rain righteousness upon you. And so imagine that, right? The clods have to be broken up in the soil, right? You got to break it up. You can't have just this rock hard soil. Have you ever tried planting a seed in rock hard soil? It just doesn't work. You got to break it up. It's got to be, tender. It's got to be aerated a little bit. Then you put the seed in, and you cover it up, and then the rain comes. The doctrine comes, right? So he's like, prepare the ground for the seed. Break up your fallow ground. Micah 5:7-9, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from Yahweh, as the showers upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, the nations, in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest. As a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hand shall be lifted upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. I do believe this is the generation that will see that flippy-floppy of the people in power no longer being in power and being handed over to the children of the kingdom. So let us prepare ourselves. Let us break up our fallow ground. Let us receive the doctrine down from heaven. From heaven coming down. And let us be the blessed ones that are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, for we will be satisfied and become the satisfied ones. So glad I didn't skip that part. All right, Matthew 5:7, blessed are the compassionate ones, for they will obtain compassion. Let's look at that. There's an amazing parable that will really teach us everything we need to know. You don't need to know. Shouldn't need any extra words from me on this one. Should be as plain as day. Matthew 18:21-25. Then Peter came to him and said to him, Adonai, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? And Yahushua said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of silver. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Adonai commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and his children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. He's like, lock him up. Put him in servitude until he pays everything. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Adonai, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. Then the Adonai of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence, and he laid his hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, pay me what you owe. Right? So the servant was forgiven everything, and he goes out and finds someone that owed him money, like look a little bit, right? He was forgiven this big chunk of change, and someone owed him a little bit, and he's like, give it to me. And his fellow servant fell down on his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. So the same thing that was done to him, that he did to the king, was done to him. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told their Adonai what was done. Then his Adonai, after that he had called him, said unto him, O you wicked servant, I forgave you of all that debt because you desired me. Should not you also have compassion on your fellow servant, even as I had pity on you? And his Adonai was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts, not just with lip service, you're fine, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I forgive you. No, if from your hearts you forgive everyone not his brother their trespasses, right? So that's more stuff that we've got to understand in this Torah community is, man, we got to have patience with each other, especially with secondary doctrine stuff like calendars and when does a day start. And, and I'm not being a hypocrite. I've taught on some of those things, but you can share what you understand with humility and meekness, as opposed to you're all wrong, you're all going to hell. You're keeping a evening to evening Sabbath like the Jews do. Yahweh is not accepting you. You are not His. You're out. That's obviously an extreme, but you see it all the time. And it's one of the big reasons why I got off Facebook. I'm like, I can't even read this stuff anymore. It's let alone all the other stuff on my timeline. Just people in this movement just being nasty. We really got to take hold of that. We really got to nip that in the bud, as they say, more gardening talk. We got to get it at the root. We got to really cut off where that's coming from. And it's coming from a place of pride. Like, I know the truth. I know it. Right? Just like the rich ruler that came under Yahusha, right? All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Right? Like I've asked before, try to put yourself in Yahweh's shoes. It's impossible, right? But just for a second, imagine yourself and you were waking up. Well, let's play parable time. Let's say you've got maybe you've got some children, and if you don't have children, maybe you have a bunch of nieces and nephews. But let's say they're all asleep to the truth of keeping the commandments. And you bring them all into a class, and you teach them all, or your children, or whatever. Imagine there's a room full of 100 children, and you bring them in, and you teach them everything, start to finish, and they all open their eyes, and they're like, "Whoa, we have been doing it wrong. We need to keep the commandments." But as time passes on, weeks pass on, months pass on, maybe years. Sure, the children are walking in the commandments, but all they're doing is at each other's throat because they don't agree with the pronunciation of the name. They don't agree on the calendar. They don't agree on when the Sabbath starts and ends. They don't agree on whether you fast on the Day of Atonement or not. They don't agree on, but it's not that they just don't agree. They're angry with each other, and they're like, ooh, you Saturn keeper, right? Ooh, or ooh, you dirty lunar Sabbatarian, how dare you? That's not, what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine how you'd feel about that situation if you're looking at all those children that you just woke up their eyes and all they're doing is like, So think about this. He forgave all of us, all of our debt, which our debt was to die, really. Our sentence was to die. So he forgave us this huge debt that none of us could pay, right? And now we're like not being compassionate with our fellow brethren. Whew. That's tough. That's some hot waters. Exodus 2:5-6. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark, and this is the ark of Moshe, right, floating down the river, among the flags, she sent her maiden to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, right? Just like the king had compassion on the servant and forgave all his debt, and how the servant should have had compassion but didn't have it. So Bathia, I think her name is, she had compassion on Moshe and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children," and she saved his life. Deuteronomy 30:1-5, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curses which I have set before you, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee, and shall return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim has scattered you. And that's what we're waiting for. And this is the timeline. We're here, right? All the curses and blessings are the blessings first, and then all the cursings came. We've been scattered. Right now we're at the outmost parts of heaven, and he's waking up a people to come back to his commandments. Micah 7:19, he will turn again and will have compassion on us, for he will subdue our iniquities, and thou wilt cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Hallelujah. Ooh, this rhymes. This could be a good song. Matthew 9:35-36, and Yahusha went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as a sheep having no shepherd. He cared for them, right? It's just like we started this whole study out with. He cared for the people. he nabated them. He looked upon them with regard, with compassion. Matthew 15:30-33, and great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame and blind and dumb and maimed and many others. I don't know about you, but in a spiritual sense, I was lame and blind and dumb and maimed, right? I was broken. I was maimed. I was broken inside. I was dumb, right? Because we know that intelligence is the fear of Yahweh and keeping his commandments. I was blind because I couldn't see his word. I was stumbling in the daytime as if it were in darkness. And I was lame. Literally, I was lame. And so much that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak and the maimed to behold and the lame to walk and the blind to see, and they glorified the Elohim of Israel. Then Yahushua called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now 3 days and having nothing to eat. And I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. And his disciples said unto him, Whence should we have so much bread in the desert, in the wilderness, to fill such great a multitude? So he had compassion, he cared for them. So he's like, I'm going to feed them with miraculous food. Praise be to Yah for his compassion. So I ask you, do you show compassion and mercy even to those that might not even deserve it? I think of David's whole life, right? Everybody wanted to kill him. All he did was good. Right? He killed Goliath and saved all Israel. And then, because the people saying, Saul killed his thousands, David his 10,000. Saul was like, no way, right? He hated him from that day forward because David did good. And he wanted to kill David. And David still had compassion on Saul. There was twice he could have killed him, right? And he probably had every right to at this point. But David's like, no. For 2 reasons. He had compassion on him, and number 2, he said, let's be honest, this is Yahweh's anointed. I'm not going to kill Yahweh's anointed, right? After all of Israel, the northern kingdom, went with Absalom to kill David and take over the kingdom. After Absalom was defeated and the whole nation was united again, David had compassion, and he gave the rulers of Israel their place back. He could have been like, you were in insurrection. You defied me, right? You're out of here. I'm going to hang you. Or no, he restored them. He's like, I get it. Come on, you're good. Come on. Let's hug it out. You're good. Compassion. I'm telling you, the key of David. We're going to look a lot more about David's life. Give me just a moment. Okay. So again, I ask you, do you have compassion on your brothers and sisters? Because you don't, he's no longer going to have compassion with you. Same goes with me, right? So that's the fear of Yahweh should keep us in compassion. And because it's the right thing to do. And a good heart, right, would do things like that. For Matthew 5:8, blessed are the pure ones of heart, for they will see Yahweh. So let's talk about being pure in heart. First, let's talk about the condition of the heart. Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Genesis 6:5, and Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Psalm 51:10, create in me a clean heart, O Elohim, renew a right spirit within me. Those of you that are going to join me tonight in Tazria, our Torah portion, we're going to learn a lot about this tonight. We're going to read Psalm 51 a couple times tonight. Proverbs 16:1-3, the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh, right? Blessed are the pure ones of heart. So how do we get this pure heart? It says the pure heart is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. So here's how we do it. You commit your works unto Yahweh, and thy thoughts shall be established. Your heart will be established. Luke 6:45, a good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good. A good tree brings forth good fruit, right? And an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. Why? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. And this is this is why we have to guard our eyes and our ears, because what goes into the eyes and into the ears enters into your heart, becomes thoughts, thoughts become words, words become actions, right? And we know that when the sin is complete, as James says, it bringeth forth death. So we got to set our hearts aright. Psalm 24, 3-6, who shall ascend into the hill of Yahweh? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands. Now, the Pharisees and the Sadducees took this very seriously, and that's why they had all the washings. They're like, well, we can't ascend to the hill unless we have clean hands. This is a very spiritual thing here. And Yahusha came to set that right. He's like, listen, if you eat food with dirty hands, it just, your stomach takes care of it and it goes out the other end. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. Thank you, Sister Karen. Forgive our trespasses as we forgive who trespass against us, right? When Yahusha says this is how we pray. It's part of what they call the Adonai's prayer. So he that has clean hands, and this is a very spiritual, clean hands meaning your works of your hands. This isn't a germaphobe thing. So he that has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. So this pure heart is the key here. He shall receive the blessing from Yahweh and righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seeks him, that seek thy face, O Jacob, Selah. So is this the generation that's coming back to the Most High's ways with a pure heart, clean hands, and perhaps maybe ascending into the hill of Yahweh? Well, we can only pray that we be found worthy to have such a thing. We read that earlier, but again, Psalm 15, 1-2, Yahweh, who shall abide in your tabernacle? Same question. Who shall ascend your holy hill? Who shall dwell in your holy hill? He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. So, the Torah in your heart. Here's that command, Deuteronomy 6:5. This is the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is one, Yahweh Elohim. And thou shalt love Yahweh with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words, right, this Torah, which I command you this day, shall be in your heart. This is part of having a pure heart. If his Torah is in our heart and we walk out his commandments, we are going back to what it said in Proverbs 16. Set your works upon him, and he will establish your thoughts. He will establish your heart. He will change you. He will change you from within. The cleansing. And we're going to be talking again tonight this about a spiritual cleansing. Back in the old time, it was the leprosy. The sin manifested itself in the flesh by spots and whatnot. Well, now it manifests itself in the spirit realm. People make themselves very clear who they are through their thoughts and their actions. They can't hide it. Like Yahweh doesn't allow them to hide it. It just comes out. So, but anyways, back on point. These words, this Torah, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you get up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, right? Hand, forehead, mark of Yah. Different than the mark of the beast. Which mark do you carry? And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. Psalm 73:1, truly Elohim is good to Israel, even to such as are a clean heart. And the heart is associated with the thoughts, right? It's like your inner being. Same with your kidneys, like your heart and your kidneys. It's like your inner self. Numbers 15:37-40, and Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto... Why did I put the tzitzit on here? Oh, yeah, okay. Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, that they bid them that they make fringes, tzitzit, as you've probably heard them, in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. Some would say it's just for men. I disagree. I think it's for women as well. In the borders of their garments throughout their generations, they put upon the fringe of the borders a riband of blue. It's the only requirement. You got to have some blue in it, or some translation would say violet, but I think it is blue. Because it mirrors like the sapphire tablets of the Torah, the sapphire firmament, the throne is sapphire. Anyways, and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahweh and do them, that you seek not after your own heart and after your own eyes, after which you used to go a-whoring, after the world, and that you may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your Elohim. So it's all about the commandments in your heart. So, again, blessed are the pure ones of heart, for they will see Yahweh, and we see a lot of this has to do with the keeping of the commandments, the Torah in our heart. the truly circumcised heart. Verse 9, Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the men of shalom, peace, for they will be called the sons of Yahweh. And again, what we're seeing here is a progression, everything from being humble, broken, weeping, then finding rest in his word, right, in his Torah, being thirsty for it, so continuing to grow and grow up, then to learn how to be compassionate with other people, to be pure in your heart, and now to find peace, right? Blessed are the men of peace, for they will be called the sons of Yahweh. So this is like a growing phase. Sorry, I'm going to tickle my throat this whole time. But you're seeing here, it's like a growth phase, and it all starts from a place of humility, right? So let's talk about men of peace, what that looks like. Here we'll start with the opposite. Isaiah 59, 7 through 13. It's talking about evil people. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace, the way of shalom, they don't know. There is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. Therefore judgment is far from us, neither doth justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness. Well, we get the idea there. We'll keep going. Luke 1, 63 through 80. We're going to skip a little bit down here for time's sake. I wanted to read all this, but this is the story of the birth of John the Baptist and the leading up to it. But let's get to what Zechariah, his father, said. And thou, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for thou shalt go before the face of Yahweh, or the Adonai, to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our Elohim, whereby the dayspring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. Another idiom for the Torah is the way of shalom, the way of peace. Proverbs, let's just read. This is a really good passage, but we'll read Proverbs 3. My son, forget not my Torah, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days, long life, and peace shall they add to thee. So remember, this goes back to the last one. Blessed are those that hunger or not the last one, a couple ago. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. And when you're filled, you have peace, right? When you have what you need, when you're satisfied, you have peace about you. Is there anything else? This is a really good one. Yeah. So this is talking about finding wisdom. Her ways are of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. So when you find wisdom in the Torah, and you follow it and you walk in it, you will find peace. Numbers 25, 11 through 13. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aharon the priest, hath turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, my Torah of peace. And he shall have it, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his Elohim, and made an atonement for the children of Israel. Psalm 34, 11 through 15. Come, ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of Yahweh. What man is he that desireth life, and loveth many days, that he may see good? Keep thy tongue from evil, and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil, do good, seek peace, and pursue it. The eyes of Yahweh are upon the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. 1 Peter 3, 8 through 12. Finally, be all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren, be pitiful and courteous, right? This is how we're supposed to act, right? Everybody thinks that they're Elijah on top of Mount Carmel yelling at Ahab, or yelling at the prophets of Baal. That's not where we're at. We need to be of one mind, having compassion of one another. This is really tough right now, being of one mind, because everybody's all over the place, right? But we can at least have compassion one of another, Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous to each other. Why can't we have some courtesy with each other, right? Even non-believers can figure this part out. Be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and let his lips that speak no guile. He's quoting Proverbs here. Let him eschew evil, like, get away from me, and do good, and let him seek peace and ensue it. He quoted Proverbs. For the eyes of Yahweh are over the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayers, but the face of Yahweh is against them that do evil. I love this verse right here, Hebrews 12:14. Boys, this sum it up. Follow peace with all men and holiness, for without which no man shall see Yahweh. That should put some fear up upon your feet, right? Some fire under your feet to make some changes if you need to. Some of you don't. Some of you are already walking in peace and gentleness and love and compassion and mercy and forgiveness and humility. But if you're not, it says follow all peace with all men. Not even just believers, let alone believers. That should be a given, but unfortunately it's not. Everybody wants to expose everybody and tear everybody down. But follow peace with all men, even the unbelieving. So you're at work or, wherever you're at and you're around people that aren't believing, but be a good example, right? Be different than everybody. Anybody can be rude to somebody, but it takes a little more patience and a lot of character and a lot of ruach and guidance of the Torah within you and good lessons from Messiah Yahushua for you to follow peace with all men, right? James 3:13 through 18. Who is a wise man endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom, not pride of wisdom. Look how much I know. No. Hey, let me share with you some things that I think that the Most High has shared with me. I could be wrong, but let's test it out. But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, peaceable, gentle, easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy. There's a lot of people in this walk that would call me a sissy and soft and fluffy. Fine, but this is how the word says to do it. It says that the wisdom from above, this is James, not me, Jacob, not me. The wisdom from above is first pure, peaceable, gentle, easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy, right? Deliverance. How do you deliver the good message? Because arrogant people deliver it arrogantly and pridefully. The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. 2 Peter 3:10 through 14. But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Elohim, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat? Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. Got peace? Boy, that was cheesy. All right. Verse 10, Matthew 5:10 through 11. Blessed are those who bear their persecutions because of righteousness, for theirs will be the heavenly kingdom. Blessed ones you will be when men curse you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil things against you and lie because of me. Do you see the progression here? You first come to him. This is brilliant. You first come to him in humble of spirit, and repentance, and he forgives you. And you weep before him, and he comforts you. You rest in his Torah. You find his Torah, and you rest in it. You continue to be hungry and thirsty for it, and you grow like a tree or a good plant would. You learn to be compassionate with each other. You stay pure in heart as you grow. You find peace. And then after he strengthens you and he prepares you, then you're ready to bear persecutions because of the righteousness. And the people who do so, theirs will be the kingdom of heaven. Blessed ones you will be when men curse you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil things against you and lie because of me. Let's read a little bit here. Great story. I love David. I love him as an example. 2 Samuel 16, 1 through 14. And this is a backstory. This is when his son, oh man, what's wrong with me? Absalom. Oh man, I forgot its name for a second. Sorry. This is when his son Absalom wanted to rebelled and take over the kingdom from him and wanted to kill his father. And so David and his men and his army withdrew out of the city into the wilderness. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and hundreds of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. And the king said to Ziba, What meanest thou by these? And Ziba said, The asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and the summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine as such as be faint in the wilderness may drink. And the king said, Where is thy master's son? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he abideth at Jerusalem, for he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father. Then said the king to Ziba, Behold, thine are all that pertain unto Mephibosheth. And Ziba said, I humbly beseech you that I might find grace in your sight, O my lord, my king. And when David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. And he cast stones at David, and all the servants of King David, and all the people, and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. And thus said Shimei when he cursed, Come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. He's like, you son of Satan. Right? And this is David, who only did good. Right? The one mess up, right? But otherwise was a pure man after Yah's own heart, and just only did good and only care, a true shepherd for his people. And he got called a son of Satan for it. Just like Yahusha did, right? He said that he cast out Satan by Satan, right? Yahweh hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And Yahweh hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. The king said, What I have to do with you, the sons of Zeruiah? Let him curse, because Yahweh hath said unto him, Curse David. Who shall then say, Wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai and all his servants, Behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, let him curse me. Let him curse, for Yahweh hath bidden him. It may be that Yahweh will look upon my affliction, and that Yahweh will requite me good for his cursing this day. And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there. So here's a man after Yahweh's own heart, right? He did good, and he suffered for righteousness' sake, and he took it. He took it, and he didn't curse back. He didn't give railing for railing or accusation for accusation. He just took it, right? And he says, I know. He knew that the Most High would requite him for all these things, for doing good. Isaiah 50:4-10, Yahweh hath given me the tongue of the learned, that men should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. Right? So he's given us a little bit of wisdom in our mouth. He wakeneth morning by morning. He wakeneth my ear to hear as the learned. Yahweh hath opened mine ear, and I was not rebellious, neither turned away back. Right? So after he's woken us up, we're not turning back. I gave my back to the smiters, and my cheek to them that plucked off my hair. I did not hide my face from shame and spitting. For Yahweh Elohim will help me. Therefore shall I not be confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint, and I know that I shall not be ashamed. Right? So he's like, I took it. He is near that justifieth me. Who will contend with me? Let us stand together, right? Who wants to contend with me? Let's stand together. Who is my adversary? Let him come near to me. Behold, this isn't like a mocking, like come on, come near to me. Let's hug it out. Behold, Yahweh will help me. Who is he that shall condemn me? Lo, they shall all wax as old as a garment. The moth shall eat them up. Who is among you that feareth Yahweh, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness and hath no light? Let him trust in the name of Yahweh and stay upon his Elohim. Psalm 69, 4-13. They that hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They that would destroy me, being mine enemies wrongfully, are mighty. Then I restored that which I took not away. Right? And there's just a common theme of evil people hating people for doing good. O Elohim, thou knowest my foolishness, and my sins are not hid from thee. Let not them that wait on thee, O Yahweh Sebaot, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O Elohim of Israel. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach. Shame hath covered my face. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. How many of us have become aliens to our families, right? For doing what's right in Yahweh's sight, we have become a reproach in many ways. And some of you I've heard some of you out there, you've been cut off from your family. For the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. We know that this is quoted when Yahusha turned the tables around, right? When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that was to my reproach. I made sackcloth also my garment, and became a proverb to them. They that sit in the gate speak against me, and I was the song of the drunkards. But as for me, my prayers unto you, O Yahweh, in an acceptable time, O Elohim, in the multitude of thy mercy, hear me, in the truth of thy salvation. So family, friends, loved ones want to mock you, want to do this, or whatever. Someone wants to slander you and say lies about you for the truth's sake or for Messiah's sake. Take it. Yahweh will recompense. Yahweh hears all. Do what David did. Let them cast stones at you. And just take it. And just be like, well, that's what they're led to do. Yahweh will see everything. Okay, last verse. We're going to stop at verse 12. Shout with joy. Your wages are great in heavens, for so they persecute the prophets who are before you. So again, the progression of this, right? So he builds you up, you're humbled, you repent, he revives you, he shows you his Torah, you keep it, you thirst for it, you grow like a big plant, you continue, and this is the part we're at right now, right? Learning compassion and love for one another. This is where a lot of us are now. We got to continue growing, and eventually, you get persecuted for keeping the truth, keeping righteousness, and maybe even in some cases for Messiah's sake, and then when he comes back, we will shout for joy. Well, I say we, those of us, I don't want to count myself among that number. That's for him to decide or not. I want to be, and I want you to be as well. That's the whole focus of this ministry, is to get me and you ready for Messiah Yahushua's return, and to be the people that will shout for joy when he comes back, and not be ashamed, right? So, But at the same time, though, even in the midst of it, it's hard. It's hard to shout for joy when you're being persecuted, or when you're even in just affliction in general. It's hard to shout for joy. But hey, Messiah Yahushua, the creator of all things, the creator of your heart and soul, says to do so, right? Let's read a little bit about that. Matthew 6:19-23. Lay down. Shout for joy. Your wages are great in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So we're speaking of wages right now. Treasure. Lay out for yourselves treasures or wages upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? 1 Peter 4:12-14. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. And there's many different trials we can have, and one of those trials could be persecution, as though some strange thing happened unto you. And we have to also recognize this. I do believe, I think a lot of you know my position on the end times. I believe the people that are ready will escape and will stand before the Son of Man. Just like it says, pray ye always that ye be counted worthy to escape all these things that are coming to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. But if I'm wrong, we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared for one of the worst times ever in history. if we've got it wrong, and we do have to give up our lives, or we do have to be jailed, or forced labor, whatever it may be. If that's what Yahweh wills, we've got to be ready for that. I don't believe that's what happens to the end times remnant. I really don't, with all my heart. I believe that we will be protected from those things, and the people that were lukewarm and not ready, that knew better but didn't hearken to his Torah, I do believe those are the people that suffer. But I could be wrong. But regardless, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Messiah's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. So this is that whole concept we read earlier in Psalms. Weeping may endure for a night, or sorrow may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning, and his return will be, so the brightness of his return will be likened unto the brightness of the morning, the sun shining through. If you be reproached for the name of Messiah, happy are you, for the spirit of glory and the glory of Elohim resteth upon you. On their part he is ill spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. 1 Peter 1, 3 through 7, Blessed be the Elohim and Father of our Adonai, Yahushua HaMashiach, which according to his abundant mercy has begotten us again. Right, we were born again unto a living hope by the resurrection of Yahushua from the dead, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you, who are kept by the power of Elohim through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time, wherein you greatly rejoice now, though for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations or trials, or whatever it may be. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than that of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. So there's this whole thing of enduring through tough times and rejoicing, even finding rejoicing in the time of tough times, in the midst of tough times. And we will find great peace about that. So with that, brothers and sisters, what we just read tonight was straight from the Creator's mouth, how we find peace in this life, and really the meaning of life. But really, how we find peace, how we find happiness, how we find joy. The end result here is joy. You do all these things. Start with humility, humbleness. Stay humble the whole time. Keep growing. All the way steps to joy. And along the way, we found peace. Along the way, we've been filled. Along the way, we've found compassion on us and had compassion with others. Mercy for us, mercy for others. Do these things, brothers and sisters, and you will be blessed. So, with that, we are finished with tonight's study. We're going to do a couple things. We've got a new song, which happens to be the Aharonic, the priestly blessing. Brother Jake and I, we're going to play that for you. We're going to probably play a couple songs. Maybe, what time is it? Oh, we're a little late. So we're also going to do the Torah portions. As soon as this stream ends, give me about at least a 10-minute break, and I will we'll resume the Torah portions. And that's going to be another long one, too. Quite a bit to go over. It's going to be a really good one. So with that, brothers and sisters, let's end this with a little bit of prayer and some songs. Heavenly Father, O Yahweh, we come before you in Yahushua's name, and we thank you for all that you've done for us, for sending your Son, that we may have life and reconciliation. We thank you for your word, which is a lamp unto our feet. We thank you for your righteous commandments that shows us how we love you and love other people. We thank you especially for Shabbat, and we ask you to be amongst us and bless us. And, O Yahweh, help guide us through the way, that we may follow the steps that Messiah Yahushua has laid out for us, the great teacher has laid out for us. We thank you for allowing us to gather together like this, and we praise and bless you with all of our heart. In Yahushua's name, amen. Hallelujah. So we're going to start first with the priestly blessing. Here we go. Yahuwah ve'yishmerecha. Ya'er Yahuwah panav lecha ve'chuneka. Yisa Yahuwah panav lecha ve'yaseh lecha shalom. Yisa Yahuwah panav lecha ve'yaseh lecha shalom. Ve'yaseh lecha shalom. Ve'yaseh lecha shalom.
Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto